How's it going, guys? The Springboks have gone and done it once again. Another solid performance, a true Springbok performance, beating the Azuri 45-0 in a spectacular game. This game was so good. This showed just how dominant the Springboks are. The the Springboks obviously learned their lessons from the last game, picked up where they left off, and we saw a completely dominant game from the beginning to the end. Now, I want to break this down, so please bear with me, like and subscribe, and let's get on with it. So, first up, in terms of this game, we saw Wille le Roux get his 100th cap. What a show, what a performance until he ended up getting taken off, and nothing else can be said other than that. The guy is an absolute phenomenon. But we saw relatively quick tries, relatively early dominance, and this is something that you do normally tend to expect from the Springboks. Very strong, very physical, they're very dominant when it comes down to set plays, and that is exactly what they did throughout the entire game. There was at no point where the Italians felt like they were making the Springboks work, where they were making the Springboks worry, like they did in the last game, especially in the second half. They put a lot of pressure on the Springboks, really started to make them, work, started to make them make mistakes, and at no point did that happen today. 7 tries, 5 conversions. Actually, you know what? Let's go through a quick summary. So, 7 tries, 5 conversions, 120 carries over the Italians 54. 10 turnovers lost to the Italians 13, 7 turnovers won to the Italians 9, 66% possession, 55% territory. And this is where it shows. When you're attacking, you can't be making tackles. South Africa's 58 tackles to the Italians 163 tackles. Absolutely ridiculous. Edwin van der Merwe with 2 tries, Andreas de Hazen with 14 carries. This was just an absolute masterpiece. This just was an absolute masterpiece from the Springboks. We go into some more stats, right? So, in terms of um, ruck speed, 83 rucks won to the Italians 33. Not only did they win far more rucks, they were at 0.10 seconds faster than the Italians. So 83 rucks won with a 4.53 average ruck speed. That is fast. Set plays. South Africa had 7 scrums. They won 86% of it. In terms of their lineup percentage, 90%, 7 restarts. And then in terms of attack, 146 passes to the Italians, 66. 120 ball carries to the Italians, 54. 269 meters post contact to the Italians, 149. This is ridiculous. I think the only thing that the Italians have actually outplayed South Africa is in tackles. 58 tackles for the Springboks to the Italians, 163. 8 tackles missed for the Springboks, 20 for the Italians. Tackle completion, 88% for the Springboks, 89% for the Italians. But that's just sheer volume. That is sheer volume. And then we look at a lot of these players. It's just at points it was not fair. The South Africans were just so dominant throughout the entire game. There's nothing much else that the Italians could have done. It was more just, damage reduction, I guess. We look at the half time, right? So at half time it's 24-0, 4 tries scored, 5 handling errors, 1 turnover conceded, 5 penalties conceded, 22 tackles made, 2 tackles missed, 8 out of 8 lineouts, 5 out of 6 scrums, 56% possession. Ridiculous. Absolutely ridiculous. Rassie learned his lesson. He took everything that he had from the last game. He made the necessary changes. And we look at the changes that came on for the Springboks in the second half. We saw players like Sasha come on. We saw players like Ethan Hooker come on the 56th minute. Evan Ruiz come on for Marco van Staden. Vessels coming on for Malcolm Marx, Kobus Reinach, and Kobus Visa. Honestly, in terms of Salman Murat, until he ended up getting substituted, I was really happy with his performance. There's a lot of people that don't like Kobus Visa, Salman Murat, and I don't know why. I think he is such a good player. I think he's very, very underrated, and a lot of people believe he shouldn't even be a Springbok. Never mind captain this side. So I thought that was absolutely, absolutely brilliant performance by him. But otherwise, in terms of tries, we had Williams, two from Van der Merwe, one from Moody, one from Marks, one from Mpimbi, which was just left wide open. And then Jan Hendrik Vessels at the end of the game just pushing through. Now, this is a little thing that I wanted to have a chat with you guys about because I don't think that Vessels' try was an actual try, right? If you look at, I think it was the last angle that they put, you will see that ball touch the floor and then his hand follow to it ever so slightly. Smallest. I can see why it was given. But from what I was looking, from my view, I don't think that that was a try. I feel that ball left his hand for the fraction of a second because I saw that ball hit the floor and then his hand follow just slightly with it. So yeah, I feel that that actually wasn't a try. Obviously, I'm happy that it was. I'm not about to complain that we didn't get that we got a try about it, and it was at the end of the game. So it's not even like it was a game changer or it was controversial. I just feel from what I saw, my view, that wasn't a try. His hand was separate from the ball, but I guess no conclusive evidence. So yeah, all in all, it was a very, very strong performance throughout from the Springboks. A very powerful performance. Definitely something to work on. We saw a lot of players make their debut, which was amazing to see. And I think this is only going to make South Africa stronger. The Springboks are going to be, working a lot with their rotation. And I feel it's going to be a very, very dominant year for the Springboks this year. So, guys, as always, please like and subscribe. It really does help the channel grow. And I want to know what your favorite try for the Springboks was. Catch you guys later.